Well, this cool, wet summer's been probably pretty nice for us, but Josh, how's this been for summer crops?
It's actually been great. We have a couple of concerns with the coolness, specifically with how late we've had to plant a lot of our summer crops and how many, growth days we still have left in the year. Unfortunately, we don't know when that growth season's going to end, but these good days, high 80s, low 90s with good soil moisture underneath it are great for summer crops. And we can kind of look at it on this bean crop and see that it's done really well, very low stress throughout, particularly with the corn crop. A lot of it started pollinating, starting to fill grain right whenever we started decreasing those temperatures from those 90s and 100s back into the 80s. That's done wonders for that crop. So we've got lots of good filling. The beans are coming along, going through our early season, are starting to go through flower. Our double crop is a little bit bigger of an issue with some of those double crop, but bulk majority of the crop around the state's doing pretty good.
You mentioned the double crops. We had Brian on last week, and he was mentioning some leaching issues in just summer crops in general, but a lot for the double crop. So what are some issues that you're seeing with the double crops, summer crops?
Well, the unfortunate thing, like a lot of the double crop is relying on wheat getting out, and we were late with our wheat getting out, so we were late with our beans going in, and a lot of folks had beans going in right ahead of that last big rain we had. And when some of those areas around the state were getting 4, 5, 6 inches at a time, what we ended up with on the back end is where we had low-lying areas or areas where water collected a little bit. Our stands are really suboptimal. Some place where we have a little bit of slope and get the water off of the beans is doing okay, but we're starting to see the seed come out either malformed or have some disease to it, or sometimes growers are digging down and the seed is almost disintegrated, turned into mush in there. That has a lot to do with how much water was just kind of sitting on it when it was going through early germination into emergence. Unfortunately for us, some of our double crop, specifically our beans up in that north central area that got a lot of that last rain, that's kind of what we've seen.
Is there anything else that's on the top of mind of producers out in the state that's either a concern or maybe something that's quite promising?
Yeah, well, we've talked about it year in, year out. Because of all the rain we've had, weeds are an issue, and so we're getting to that point to where growers need to either pull the trigger on an application or it's kind of too late and you have to look at alternative options. The other thing we have going throughout the state is worm pressure. A lot of our Lepidoptera, specifically our army worms, are really starting to hit hot and heavy, but something like really young soybean can be an issue. It can also be an issue for some of our grain sorghum that's gone to head, because those army worms can get up in the head and eat a little bit. We're more concerned with corn earworms in that regard than army worms, but army worms can be an issue. So it's adding a stress that we really just don't want because we have good conditions otherwise.
So for those double crop systems that might have had an herbicide on them, pre-plant herbicide, and then going into the summer with the double crops, are you seeing any weed pressure there?
Yeah, we're still seeing it, and it's because of all the rain that we've gotten in this late June, early July, and we see that even folks that have gone out and made these applications very systematically, very good, in some of those systems we're still seeing the weeds come on. Go out and take a look, scout, make sure you don't need to go put something out over the top, because like with something like soybean, once we get a flower kind of come up, a lot of our control options go off the table. So if you can grab it before we get a flower out on some of the late planted beans, that's something that growers will probably want to do.
All righty, thanks Josh. Josh Lofton, Cropping Systems Specialist here at Oklahoma State University.